Hello, folks. Welcome back to Trucking and Politics. My name is David. I wanted to come on and share a little bit of trucking financial news. Some of it's good, some of it's not so well. First off, as a lot of you probably already know, Convoy and Meadowlark have both ceased operations. Convoy was a digital online brokerage and they ceased operations. I think they reported something like $3.8 billion in revenue last year. So it was a fairly large company. Meadowlark, I'm not sure of their operational dynamics, but they were a trucking company and brokerage. Both have ceased to exist, which is very sad for the industry, very sad for the drivers and the employees that worked for all three of these companies. Tonight, what I was mainly wanting to talk to you about was trucking companies that could be following suit with the Meadowlark Trucking. Some of these companies are turning in some really bad earnings reports. I have four that I was wanting to go over with you. They will be Knight Swift, Werner, Schneider, and Covenant. Each have some separate news. Each have different operating dynamics. I was wanting to mainly show you the stock chart for each company and discuss a little bit of news and earnings reports for each. One of these companies stood out to me as a company that could potentially go out of business if they don't change a little bit of dynamics that is going on within their company. I'm not really sure what is going on with them, but it's not looking good. One of the companies is actually excelling really well, and they recently acquired another trucking company. Maybe the management of that company is a little better. So let's get into this and discuss what is going on here. First off, I wanted to talk about Knight Swift. Knight Swift recently turned in a third quarter earnings report, and they had an actual earnings drop of 69%, but their total revenue was up 6.5%. So what does this mean? This means it's a tough market. Fuel is expensive. Trucks are expensive. Maintenance on trucks are expensive. DEF systems on trucks are a maintenance nightmare. I used to own one. It almost sent myself into bankruptcy as well. DEF systems can absolutely wreak havoc on a trucking company. But since the government knows more than us, and they will stop global warming, as they say, then DEF systems are here to stay, even though they are compromising and shutting trucking companies down. That is not the only thing. Fuel also plays a major part in trucking. As one of my previous videos stated, executive pay also brings in a lot of expense for a trucking company. Some have as much as 20 and 30 million dollars a year going out to their corporate executives. Whenever you're working on margins that reflect on your company through your stock portfolio, it seems like a lot of these companies would want to adjust their executives' pay to reflect an up and down in the market more so than what they do. Unfortunately, as I stated in the previous video, what they usually go after is driver pay. Unfortunately, as they say, the turd rolls downhill and the trucker gets the stinky end of the stick. So, with that being said, corporate executives are not going to take major drastic decreases in pay. They will go down with the company and they will be the last one to bail out. Knight-Swift, you can see here on their stock, I'll put it up here for you, not doing all that well. They have been average. They continually seem to go up, but right here at the very end you can see a little bit of a drop. We will keep an eye out on them to see what is going on. Seems like they're going to hold their own at Knight-Swift. They seem to be a fairly stable company and doing fairly well. The next company that I was wanting to talk about was Werner. Werner missed their quarterly earnings report. You can see here in their stock, it's all over the place. They have lost their gains from recent months. They're like an M shape. They go up, down, and recently they have really fallen. Werner seems like a company that when they do go up, they don't seem to really hold it. It seems like more of a fragile type company to me that doesn't really hold on to what they've got. They gain it quickly, but they also lose it quickly. I guess Werner is a stable company. They've been around for a while. They were also the pioneers in electronic logs, as you can see that. Werner personally to me is not a great company. I know some drivers out there seem to like it. They seem to do okay with it. They've had a lot of promotional videos put out for their company. For me, Werner, I'm not really coming down on the company really hard, but it just seems like they're fragile and a loose ran company. Maybe they don't seem to be keeping up with the trends. What you see on a lot of stocks out here, I used to do stocks several years ago. If a company and a stock is doing well in a segment, it seems like the top performers, maybe the top 5 or 10 stocks in that segment, will all have the same stock chart, basically. They will all be trending the same way. They will all be trending sideways. They'll be trending slightly up. Some just totally ramp up. If I was going to buy stock in one of these companies, more than likely as a long-term hold, I would go with Swift. They just seem a little better, a little more stable. Not so much as another company that I was wanting to talk about, though. Covenant. Covenant recently announced they bought Lew Thompson and Son Trucking for $100 million. I'll put it up here for you guys to read as well. Huntsville-based poultry carrier Lew Thompson and Son recently was acquired by Covenant Logistics for about $100 million. The reason why they say about, we shall soon see. The acquisition was completed on April 26th amid a soft freight market. Okay, the agreement with the Chattanooga logistics provider also includes an earn-out of up to $30 million, depending on the performance of the acquired company over the next 3 years. In 2022, Lew Thompson and Son generated about $64 million in revenue. What this tells me is they're willing to pay $100 million for a company that makes $64 million in 1 year. They're willing to give an additional $30 million depending on the performance of the company. So apparently, what I'm gathering by that is Covenant is being fair and they're being cautious at the same time. This is not a bad thing to do in this market. Companies that are cautious are usually more stable. It reflects in their stock market chart. You can see with Covenant, I'll put it up here. You can see Covenant goes on an upward ramp, an increase in their stock. They have a little bit of a drop there at the bottom, the end of the chart. Maybe that's a little fluctuation because of their earnings report, but they're also settling the mind of their investors because Lew Thompson was probably a good buy for them. It will add to them and increase their portfolio, increase their earnings. More than likely, that was a good move for Covenant. More than likely. The last company that I want to look at, in my opinion, is an absolute disaster. There's no other way to put it. It is just, wow. I mean, it is just, I don't know what's going on over here. The last one is Schneider National. Schneider National missed their third quarter earnings estimate. By a lot. Significant amount. Let me Schneider's National third quarter earnings, operating revenue down 19% year over year. The operating revenues for quarter 3 of 2023 stood at 1.4 billion with a B, down from 1.7 billion in quarter 3 of 2022. Income from operations was 46.7 million, a significant drop from 145.4 million in the same period last year. Diluted earnings per share were 20 cents compared to 70 cents in quarter 3 of 2022. On November 22, 2023, Schneider National announced its third quarter results for the financial year 2023. The company reported a year-over-year decline in revenue and earnings for the third quarter, which it attributes to the challenging phase of the prolonged freight recession. The results were primarily driven by ongoing price pressures in the company network businesses, along with other headwinds such as fuel, bad debt, and lower equipment gains. Folks, Schneider's in trouble. There's no other way to put it. You can look at their stock. You can look at this earnings report. Schneider used to be one of the biggest truckload carriers in the United States. They have ceased operations in Canada. That news report came out not long ago. They don't really seem to be drastically cutting things to prop the company up. This tells me they know more than what they're letting everyone know. I am going to go out on the limb here. I may be making a jerk of myself. It would not surprise me at all. It would not be a shock to me whatsoever if in 2024 Schneider National declares bankruptcy. I know that's a bold statement. I know that's really putting it out there. Do I actually see it happening? Probably not. Let's look in 2024 and see if Schneider pulls up out of its nosedive. Maybe sell some property, sell some equipment, get on some new accounts. Something. Maybe something will happen with Schneider to where they pull out of it. They may skim through 2024 if they continue on the slide that they're on into the last quarter, the fourth quarter, which it's their projection already shows they are not looking for a good forecast in quarter 4 either. One of my previous videos that I put out, I talked about losing my job as a retail store manager because a big retailer, Walmart, came in and wouldn't allow us to maintain our level of profits. Walmart took away our level of profits. Therefore, the manager told me during our discussion, we run a business. A business that does not generate profit is called a hobby. Most corporations will not sustain a hobby. Same thing goes for Snyder National. If they generate profit into 2024, they can pull out of this nosedive and save the company. If they continue on next quarter showing a loss, first quarter of 2024 showing a loss, especially the second quarter of 2024, if they show a loss, then expect some news coming out of Snyder National that they will file for bankruptcy or cease operations. Bold call from me. It depends on what they do. It depends on their next couple of quarters. I don't mean to scare anyone. This is just my opinion. It's not based on anything that I've heard from any insider. It's just what I'm looking at from their operational dynamics. They're saying it themselves in their earning call. You can look at their stock. It looks horrible. Snyder is going to have to get together as a company and pull themselves up. Either that or they're going to stay in this nosedive and go up in flames. Let's see how it works out. I wish the best for Snyder National. Actually, I don't know why, but I seem to kind of have a fondness for Snyder. I don't know where that comes from, because I've never worked for Snyder. I don't really know of anyone that has worked for Snyder. But when I've talked to their drivers, they seem nice. They don't seem stressed out or hateful towards the company at all. They seem, I guess, more or less to like their job. A few Warner drivers I've talked to, maybe it's just the way that it's happened with me and my interactions with some of these, but Warner seems to have more of a negative aura about themselves, I guess you could say, to me. But then again, I don't know anything about Warner either. Never worked there. I don't know of anyone that does work there. It will be sad to see Snyder National go out of business. If that is what happens, it will be sad. It's sad for Meadowlark to go out of business. It's sad for all trucking companies to go out of business. Let's see what happens. I wasn't here to scare you guys or bring you devastating news here. It's just sharing my opinions and seeing what's going on, looking at their earnings calls. Snyder, get your act together. We need some good truck drivers out here. We need some good employers out here. We don't need to have another big drop in the trucking industry. The one that I did forget to say anything about was JB Hunt. I guess I'll follow through with my little thumbnail on here. JB Hunt seems to be up there with Knight and Swift. I'll put their stock up here at the very last. They seem to be doing okay. It's JB Hunt. They're the biggest in the United States. So they're working with the best people over there. They're not going to let JB Hunt go down. They've got a long way to fall before they will go down. They've got very deep pockets over there with that company. So they're going to do okay. But I guess with my list here, it would be JB Hunt first, Snyder last, Knight Swift in second place, Covenant in third place, and Warner, I guess, would be fourth. Snyder's coming in, dragging in a last fifth place finish. Let's see how it goes. Just a little food for thought for you guys. Have a great night.